How do you handle a client that wants raw images? Hey, what's up you guys? Nick here. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Nick. I'm a professional photographer. I've been shooting professionally for about 4 years now, but I've had a camera in my hands for about the last 17 ever since I was in high school. And today we're going to discuss how to handle a client that wants raw images. And we kind of went over this a little bit in my video, which I will link right up there, called I Broke the Cardinal Rule of Photography, where I shared a raw image with 4 or 5 different photographers and let them edit it to see what kind of different styles we could get out of that photo. What I've seen lately on a lot of the forums, and the reason I'm making this video is actually because of a photographer who is just starting out that I've worked with a couple of times, including in my video on the Nikon D50 review, which I'm going to link down in the description below, Ruby. And some of you guys might remember her from that video if you've checked out some of my videos before, but she had contacted me and said that a client wanted her raw images that she had taken during a photo shoot that she had done, and she didn't want to share them with them, but she didn't really know a good way of going about saying no and not coming off rude or mean or anything like that. There's a lot of debate in the photography world whether or not you'll give out raw images. I stand in the side of I do not release raw images for portraits, weddings, engagement shoots, senior photos, anything like that where I'm doing portrait photography of a subject. I do not release raw images. Now, if I'm doing product photography, or if I'm doing magazine work, or if I'm working with a fashion label, it's stated in the contract beforehand, I do hand over the raw images. They have professional retouchers and editors in-house that will take care of the editing on that side. I get my check, they retain the copyrights, because that's what our contract stated. But if you're just getting out there and you go out and take some senior photos and they say, well, I want the raw images so I can edit them myself, I'm going to talk about the reasons why I don't do that personally. I don't have an issue with anyone else who wants to do that. I see the merits behind it and why some clients might want those raw images, but here are the reasons I don't offer my raw images. Then we'll go into how to say no and how to avoid any awkward conversations or hurting your reputation. The reasons I don't give out my raw images is because I maintain the copyright on those. In the United States, whoever takes the photo owns the copyright for the photo, and giving away your raws is a lot like giving away your film negatives during the film era. You're giving away any proof that you own those photos, and you want to maintain that copyright. Now, I just got done doing some research online, and there was an article on f-stoppers and an article on Petapixel, and they were both talking about, oh, don't be afraid of giving away your raws, but if you give away your raws, you're giving away a photo with 0 editing in it. And I'm going to put a raw image on the screen right here so that you guys know what I mean. And then I'm going to put the finished product that I edited. Now it's all done, and you see the difference. The problem I have giving away raw images is I don't know what the client's skill base is on Photoshop. So if they do a really bad job editing those photos, or throwing some filters on it, or not cropping it into a flattering image and they post it, people can be like, oh, who took that? And then they say, well, Pink Hat Photography took that. And then the people are like, well, that's not a very good photo. So one of the articles I read kept saying that it's fear. We fear giving away our raws. I absolutely fear my reputation as a photographer being tarnished because, as we've discussed in so many videos before, your reputation in this industry is mostly word of mouth. That's how you build your business. That's how you gain new clients, is word of mouth. If a client is posting bad photos, maybe the photos are good, but the editing was bad because they're inexperienced with editing, or God forbid they just convert the raw into a JPEG and upload that, then you're risking a bad photo hurting your reputation with potential clients and potential word of mouth. And again, the Petapixel article had discussed how, oh, well, if you have clients, they'll keep coming back to you, blah, 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 blah. I went and looked at the guy's page. His Facebook is now down, his Twitter is now down, his website is now down. It does not look like he's actually shooting professionally anymore, and he was handing out raws left and right, so I don't know how to take that. That's just my personal feelings on the matter and my personal opinions. It has the potential to hurt your reputation. You're giving away the copyright to your work, and a lot of the times raw images look really, really, really terrible when they're not edited. Now, I might get some commenters on here saying, well, if you can't do it right in the camera, you shouldn't be shooting at all. And that's fair. I've actually had that mindset when I first got started, and I discussed that in my first video. And if you guys want to watch the cringe, I'll link that one up there on my 5 mistakes I made as a beginner photographer, because I didn't believe in editing and my business wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't getting anyone wanting to shoot with me. And as soon as I started getting my own niche cemented, my own editing style cemented, my client base began to grow. So With the people who are pro giving out their raw images, I understand why you are willing to give away your raw images. I hope that you're charging a good price in order to give your copyright away like that. And for the people that are against giving away your raw images, I'm in your court, but you do have to see the other side of that. A client might be skilled in Photoshop, a client might be skilled in Lightroom, but that's not a risk I personally am willing to take. So for those of us who are still here, how can we discuss with a client that you're not going to give them their raw images? You're not going to give them the raw images that you took during the photo shoot without coming off like an asshole. A lot of the photographers I see who are asked for the raw images feel kind of insulted, like maybe the client doubts their skills, and 9 times out of 10 that's not what the issue is. A lot of the times it is they just want to put their own creative flair, they want to put their own kind of style of what they were envisioning into their photo. So it's very important to communicate with your client. Oftentimes I offer 1 to 2 extra edits on top of the main edit. So when I send them the JPEGs of the edited photos, they can go through and be like, well, you know, I want this one to have a little bit of a warmer tone. I want this one to be a little cooler. The coloring isn't right on this. It just seems a little off. And I'll actually communicate with them to figure out exactly what they want from that photo so I can edit it to the style that they want, without coming off like I'm condescending, not wanting to give out raws, or I'm an asshole for not wanting to give out raws. And it's my way of communicating with the customer that, yes, I want you to get what you envisioned. Let's work on this together without compromising giving out my raws or giving up the copyright to the image. Now that brings me to my next point. As we discussed in my video about a model release, which I will link right up there, we talked about all the clauses and everything that goes into a model release. Now it's very important that you have something in your model release stating that you do not give up raw images. You will only deliver finished JPEG images. And the model release, as you sit down and you communicate it and they go through it, it's on them to read it and it's on them to understand it. If they have any questions, it's on you to answer it. But I have had a client come back to me and say, well, I want the raw images. And I simply just tell them, I'm sorry, I cannot do that. It was in the contract that you signed when we set up the photo shoot and we actually did the photo shoot that I will not release any raw images to you. Now that can come off the wrong way, so I immediately spin that into, will you share with me what images you would like re-edited? We can talk about what editing style you would like on those images. Another part of this communication is going through your raw images with the client after you've culled the really, really bad ones and having them pick out the photos they want edited. Now this can be a hassle if you take 1,000 photos and you cull 500 of them. Going through 500 photos is a hassle. Generally what I'll do is in a 1-hour photo shoot, I take 150 to 200 photos. Out of that 150 to 200 photos, I cull it down to 50. 50 photos that are in focus, exposed correctly, everything looks good, they're not blinking, they don't have their eyes closed. And through those 50 images, I go through with the client and I have them choose 12 to 15 images that they would like edited to completion as their final product. And so what I do is I take the no and I turn it into something positive. And that's extremely important in this industry because again, word of mouth is everything. Online reviews is everything. People talking well about you, people talking bad about you. That is everything in this business, especially when you're just getting started out. You want to go through and make sure that you can have a positive experience with your client and communicate positively with them, but have the legal paperwork, as in the model release, to back you up on these claims. If it's stated in the contract and you can easily just say, well, it's in the contract that I don't give up any raw images. What images would you like re-edited, and what kind of editing style are you thinking of? I can do this 1 or 2 times in order to make sure that you are completely happy with the product you are paying for. And then I generally hold on to the raws for about 6 months to a year, depending on how large the shoot is and how hard it would be to recreate the shoot, just in case they come back and they want different edits done later, or they want to order some prints through me or anything like that. So there you guys have it. That's kind of the best way to shut down the can I have your raws if you're not wanting to give up your raw images. I generally don't give away my raw images for those reasons, and when a customer does ask me for the raw files, I state it's in your contract. I ask how I can fix the images that were given to them, and I assure them that the images that I gave them are the best images out of the entire set. So thank you guys again so much for joining me. If you're still here right now, don't forget I have merch. This is one of my favorite shirts right now. It's Ari. I didn't video this shoot for some reason. It was done last year before the world came to a grinding halt. I will put a link for this shirt as well as my Redbubble down below. All my social medias are on there, and don't forget to subscribe At 1,000 subscribers, I'm giving away a Nikon N80 35mm camera. We hit our 500 goal in 2020, which was my goal. My goal for 2021 is to hit 1,000. We're at like 525 now, which is amazing. I want to thank you guys again so much for that. So please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you know right when I upload. I upload once a week, generally. Sometimes you get a bonus second video. And don't forget to share this video if you enjoyed it. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye.